4 games to go, and we're still in the mix. It's Talk of the Town, episode 46. Yes, good evening and welcome to Rodney Parade, where Crawley play with 4 games to go. We play promotion chasing Newport County this evening. The Reds still with an outside chance of sneaking into those playoffs, but a result here tonight against the South Wales side is imperative to that. You can't be here this evening, which is obviously a great shame, but of course you can watch the game live at home on iFollow.
Follow in your heart, in spirit, in soul. You make every tackle, score every goal. You're part of it, wherever you are in the world. From the first minute until the last kick. Victories, heartbreaks. You're part of the fabric, the passion, devotion, supercharging emotion. For you, there is only one. Abiding loyalty, togetherness that is second to none. Follow every kick, every tackle, every goal. With access to live stream games and matchday commentary. With coverage spanning the globe. Behind the scene content, newsletters and match highlights. There's no better way for you to get closer to your club. And with iFollow sales supporting them, there's no better way to show your love. When you can't be there with iFollow.
Yeah, so £10 for all supporters as this is an away game. So keep 4 games to go. Keep digging in. Keep putting your hand in your pocket. Just £10 and you can be a part of the action from your sofas at home this evening. Of course, a big win on Friday night against the league toppers Cheltenham put Crawley right into the mix. 3 points for the playoffs, but with it all to do in these last 4 games, so a win here tonight obviously would be important. A loss would probably kill off our playoff hopes for the season. Tonight we have Tom and Sam joining us, as will General Manager Tom Ullman. We will be talking about all sorts of things. We'll obviously be looking at that game on Friday night. We'll be looking ahead to tonight. We will be discussing League 2 fixtures. Probably one of the most interesting group of fixtures I've ever seen in League 2. There's all sorts at the top of the table, the playoff picture, the relegation zone, all sorts going on across League 2 this evening. Really interesting bunch of fixtures. We will hopefully have Erdem. If Erdem can get over here in time, we will be talking to him about the European Super League as well. And we'll, as always, have the view from the opposition up shortly. But first, before we have all those plethora of guests on the show, let's take a look back at how the Reds beat tabletoppers Cheltenham on Friday night. Yeah, welcome back to Rodney Parade. That great win, as I said before the highlights, puts us in with an outside chance of sneaking in to those playoffs. As we'll chat about with Ken later on. But let's go through the lineup. 2 changes from that side to beat Cheltenham on Friday. Glenn Morris does start in goal as always. Archie Davis, Jordan Tunnicliffe and Joe Mack, and they are joined by Tony Craig in that back line. He replaces Nick Cerula. Sam Matthews, Jake Hessenthaler, James Tilley are joined by Josh Wright. That's the second change. He comes in place of Jack Powell, with Ashley Addison and Tom Nichols once again starting up front. On the bench this evening, we have got Powell, Cisse, Frankham, Maguire Drew, David Radare and Stuart Nelson. Ken, big win against Cheltenham, wasn't it? And it's sort of like, we don't want to, I'm very keen not to big up the chances of the playoffs. We are the outsiders, 100%. I know John plays down he doesn't want people to start expecting to make it. I don't expect to make it, but we've got a chance, haven't we?
Well, I suppose looking at it, points wise, I suppose we have. There's some big matches tonight, isn't there, from other clubs? Exeter are playing whoever, and Leighton Orient are playing Forest Green, I think. So there is a chance there, obviously, but to beat the top of the league, had a good run, Cheltenham, and we beat them.
And I thought everyone knows what Cheltenham are about. They're a very physical side, very strong from set pieces. Ben Tozer's got that long throw. Joe McNerney and Jordan Tunnicliffe, for the second game in a row, really stood up to the test. They were outstanding.
Unbelievable. They've been outstanding, haven't they, the centre halves? Obviously, since Tony got injured and Big Joe came in to work alongside Tony, they have been superb, haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously Tony Craig does come in today in place of Nick Cerula. How do you think that will change how we set up? Do you think it'll be a change of formation, or he'll just go in as left back?
I don't know. Obviously, I think they look at how they think the opposition is going to set up, don't they? And set our sort of stall out to match. So we might be playing 3 at the back. I don't really know. So, but as you say, and also, obviously, players have had lots of games, haven't they? So I think John likes to just rotate the players a bit and give. And as Tony's now fit again, obviously he was at the beginning of the season our number 1 centre half.
We don't know what the reason is for that change, whether it's an injury, whether it is rotation.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't know. I'm assuming rotation. Jack Powell drops to the bench. Josh Wright comes in. The last few games he's done that, hasn't he? With Jake Hessenthaler, Powell, Wright. They've sort of almost chopping and changing, trying to keep those 3 as fresh as possible during the running.
Well, that's right. And obviously Jack Powell's played so many games this year, hasn't he? I know he missed the 1-2 games ago at Southend. Was it at Southend he missed, I think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think he missed the Southend game or came on a sub. But he's played so many games, and it's obviously to give him a rest. So perhaps we can get the best out of him when he comes on. Yeah,
fingers crossed. Looking ahead to tonight, Newport, always a really tricky place to come in. It's hard to come here and get points, and I'm expecting the same this evening.
I know we haven't got a bad record here, have we? We've done 1-1 and 0-0 here and everything, but I don't think we've taken 3 points away from here many times.
I don't think I've ever come here and seen a really good game of football.
No, obviously sometimes the pitch isn't as good as what it looks tonight. I think that little break where they moved to Cardiff for a few weeks has probably done the pitch good.
Yeah, and obviously the pitch here gets shared by a rugby team, doesn't it? So it often struggles to hold up as the season goes on. But yeah, as you said, it doesn't look too bad at all.
I've seen it looking like a sandpit before, and we've been standing over there looking at it thinking, oh goodness, it looks like like all sand, so it looks better tonight, I think. So.
And do you think tonight the mentality will be we've got to win the game? There's, as I say, we're outsiders, but there is that glimmer of hope. We might as well go all guns blazing and try and win the game, or do you think maybe it'll be see how the first hour pans out and then go from there?
Well, I think any team goes on the football pitch and they looking to win. You don't go out there thinking, oh, we might be down at half time. I think you've got to go out to try and win the game and try and do as best you can. When you can. So, and if we happen to get that lead, get that 1-0 goal again, like we did on Saturday, and Cheltenham didn't really bother us that much, did they?
It's an interesting point, because throughout the season, we've had sort of ups and downs, as everybody has this year. There's not been one team who have been consistently superb.
No, that's right.
You look at Carlisle, they were dead and buried. Before we played them, they were dead and buried. Since then, they've been an unbelievable run, and they're right back in the picture. Whereas, I remember the guy, I think me and you were presenting him, and the guy come on and said, oh, well, yeah, if you talk to any Carlisle fans, we're finished. All of a sudden, they're right back in the fight. And it has been like that. When we have had a good run, it seems to have been built on a solid defence, doesn't it? So I'm thinking about the run around Christmas time, going to places like Bolton, Forest Green. We've spoken about it a number of times, but it was 1-0 wins built on a strong defence, and we started doing it again, it looks like.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously, 3 clean sheets in a row. If we get another clean sheet tonight, it'll be only the second time since we've joined the Football League that we've had 4 clean sheets in a row.
Right, fantastic. Yeah, so it'd be incredible.
That would be incredible if we could win 1-0 tonight, sneak a goal and then hold out.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to have the view from Newport very shortly. We're going to discuss the League 2 fixtures and obviously that European Super League as well. Ken, whilst you're here,
just blowing a kiss at Tom.
You're just blowing a kiss. All right, concentrate. Eyes on it.
Okay,
Ken.
all right.
There's a job to be done here. What do you know about the European Super League, Ken?
Well, all I know is we're not in it, Joe. That's about it.
Not yet.
A few years' time we might be, when they make it a Sussex Super League. If they made it a Sussex Super League, us and Burgess Hill and that could all be in it, couldn't we?
5 people do get invited, Ken, so you never know.
Yeah.
They might be watching.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Been some good work from the CTFC admin team over the last few days.
Oh, that's right, yeah. You never know, do you?
Rustling a few feathers. But interesting, do you think, obviously you have an affinity, we'll call it, with Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in and around Crawley, isn't there? You will know, you've lived in Crawley for donkey's years, who have a team up in London.
Yeah.
And then they've moved to Crawley and they've sort of continued to follow the team. There's a chance now for us, I suppose, to try and take some of them fans who maybe are a bit disillusioned with particularly those top 6 clubs.
That's exactly right. I mean, where I play golf, 80% of our membership are Tottenham fans.
Right.
And then you've got a few Arsenal and the Chelsea, obviously. Not so many Palace fans, but luckily they're
understandable.
Not been invited. They haven't been invited yet to go in the Super League, but when we won a couple of European Cups, they might invite us in. But yeah, so I don't know. It's one of those things. Whether it'll go ahead or not, I don't know. I mean, although they're all signed up, but I'm not sure how they're going to throw them all out of the league, do you? And then not let them in the Champions League. None of the players can play for England or Scotland or Wales or wherever they come from in the world. Can't play for their national teams anymore.
That's it. We'll discuss all that later on and see what happens. But you never know. Ken, thank you very much for joining us. I'm just going to check. Sorry, I don't know for certain. Have we got the highlights from when we played Newport last time? Here's the highlights from when we played Newport earlier in the season at the People's Pension Stadium.
Get 'em.
Yeah, 1-1 draw there earlier at the People's Pension Stadium. But all the eyes are on tonight. I'm joined by Rob Phillips from BBC Wales. You're a football correspondent, I understand. So you actually watch all of it. Swansea, Cardiff, Wrexham.
Yeah, the lots.
But you've also caught the last few games of Newport.
I have, yeah. And actually, they played a lot better against Bolton when they lost. A lot worse against Bolton than when they lost than they did against Cambridge on Saturday.
Yeah, and obviously they lost 1-0 to Cambridge on Saturday, but
yeah.
Cambridge, obviously, a difficult side to beat. Newport have been funny, haven't they, this season? They started really well. They started like a steam train. It seems to me like they've been crawling to the finish line, trying to get those playoffs.
They're struggling to get across the finishing line. You're right. You've summed it up. I think there are a number of factors. Clearly, They were brilliant when the pitches were really good. That explains their great start. Since the pitch here in particular, I mean, they had 2 games at the Cardiff City Stadium because it was so bad. That was a real problem for them. They do have drainage difficulties here. A couple of other things. They lost Scott Twine back to Swindon. He's still among their top scorers, and he went back over Christmas. So, and he's been really good. He was a real breath of fresh air and scored spectacular goals. And sort of not so heralded, but they lost a young Welsh under-21 international, Brandon Cooper, on loan from Swansea, back to the Swans.
Right, because I did read a lot about that, about how Newport had an unbelievable start to the season, but they did have a lot of lone players who they lost in January. Was it just those 2, or was there a few?
No, I mean, there was a big turnover in January, but those 2 were 2 players that Mike Flynn did not want to lose. Yeah. You know, he did have a big turnover. He does every January. They've not got their rhythm since. But amazingly, I mean, this is a stupid league, isn't it? In that it seems I've got Nathan Blake with me, the Welsh international, tonight, and he said on Saturday, it's almost a league that nobody wants to win.
Yeah,
and nobody wants to get out of.
We said just before you come on that it's been up and down, and a few weeks ago we were on a torrid run, and it was a case of, do you know what, that's it for us. We'll look towards the next season. All of a sudden, results seem to have gone our way. We're still rank outsiders, we absolutely know that, but we're going in head to if we win this game today, we go level on points with Newport, albeit they have a game in hand. Exactly,
and look where Newport are, despite a poor run. They're still in the top 7. It's ridiculous, really. But it's the way League 2 is, and frankly, we wouldn't have it any other way, would we?
Yeah, it certainly made it exciting. Am I right? I think Newport only won once in the last 7 games.
Yeah.
So they really are in torrid form, as are Forest Green, who I think are in that other promotion place.
Absolutely.
They're bottom of the form table, so both of those really looking over their shoulders.
Well, I looked before Saturday. The 3 of the bottom 5 in the form table were Tranmere, Forest Green Rovers and Newport. And look where they are in the table. I mean, it's just a bizarre league. Obviously, because of the problems that the world is facing, I think that has been part of it. Clearly, the pitch here, it's not an easy pitch to play on now. And Newport have lost that goal edge. I mean, fair play to Crawley. They lose Max Waters to Cardiff in January.
Yeah.
And yet they don't seem to stop the goals, so which is saying something.
Sorry, just on that, I hadn't thought about it, but obviously, yeah, you follow Cardiff, so you will know of Max Waters.
Yeah,
been scoring a lot of goals for under 23s, but doesn't seem to be getting a look in the first team.
No, it's very difficult in that they've got Kiefer Moore, the Wales international, up front, and they played 2 off him. Harry Wilson, the Liverpool loan player, Shea Ojo, another Liverpool loan player. It's been difficult for him, but I hear he's working really hard with Terry Connor, the old Wolves player, and Mick McCarthy's loyal assistant, who particularly works with the strikers. And, you know, I think Mick McCarthy went to see him in the under-23s a few weeks ago because he was starting to find the net. So you'd think with Cardiff playing at the moment and possibly if they don't get a win tonight, and if Barnsley get a point, they're out of the contention full stop for the top 6. Then I think you might see Max Waters feature because, you know, he's a youngster and he's still got time.
Yeah, absolutely. Rob, finally, what are you expecting tonight? Firstly, I want to know what sort of game you're expecting, and secondly, give us a prediction on the score.
Newport are not an easy team to play against. They don't lose heavily as a rule. They lose by the odd goal. It's because on Saturday they were brilliant up to the 18-yard box and then couldn't get the finishing touch. They've got an awful lot to play for. They know the games are running out. They know they have to hit form soon. Otherwise, all that early season promise, being miles ahead of everybody else in the league, will just disappear from them. And it'll just be an improved season on last season, but certainly not the aspirations they had before Christmas when they were flying high.
Can you give us a score prediction?
Well, I'm bound to say I probably think they'll take it 1-0, but you just never know. And, you know, provided Mickey Dimitrou doesn't score through his own net again, maybe that prediction will come through. But I will say, give Crawley fans hope. I am notoriously bad about predictions, which is why I never bet on football.
I hope that record continues tonight. Rob, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate your thoughts. That's Rob's preview ahead of the game here this evening at Rodney Parade. Let's hear what goalkeeper Glenn Morris had to say at training this week.
Glenn, thanks for talking to us. It's Newport tomorrow. How are you and the lads heading into that one? Yeah, no, all good. Obviously, you're looking forward to the next game now. It's people say that when you're playing lots of games you can get tired, but when you're winning, you're not tired and you're just looking forward to it. So yeah, we can't wait.
2 really impressive wins to take in, some great momentum.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what you want this time of the season. We just got to take each game as it comes. I know it's an old cliche, but we really do. We just got to go out there, put performance in, and see where it takes us.
A really battling performance against Cheltenham. It was just great to see the lads come over with the 3 points. A really well-deserved 3 points, considering they were top of the league. We didn't make them look like that. We made them look, lower. We played really well that game.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked at it, it looked like they was a little bit tired, and maybe that's because we was getting some momentum with the Southend point, winning against Bradford, just building, and maybe we made them look tired, but we looked like we had a lot more in us, and maybe could have won by a few more goals. So the boys defended brilliant, and that gives you a platform to go on and try and win.
You speak about building that momentum, but also building that momentum in the back. It's 3 clean sheets in the bounce now. Obviously, as a goalkeeper, that's obviously a bonus for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. I mean, the Bradford game I had a little bit to do, but the other games I haven't had too much to do, which is what you want as a goalkeeper. You don't want to be busy. You want to be just there marshalling and communicating and doing your bit, and that's they've made it really easy for me the last few games. So it's brilliant.
Yeah, the defence have been a real credit to the side a few weeks, especially when you consider, we've had a lot of unfortunate injuries at the back. Young Nick's come in, done really well. Joe Max had to step in place of injured Tony Craig. Dano's been out. When you consider the amount the defence has actually changed, it's really impressive that they've jumped together so quick.
Yeah, and obviously with George as well, our captain out right back, Archie's come in as well. So it just shows that there is a great depth there, and when people are coming in, they're taking their chance.
Yeah, it looks to be real belief in the team now. Sort of, we've got our form back, we've got that momentum back, and you just think we could be anywhere by the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we had a wobble up, and every team's going to do that, but that's gone now, and at the moment we're looking to to go to every game and win, and that's where we was early on in the season, and it's nice to be back there.
Thanks, Glenn.
No worries.
Yeah, welcome back. We mentioned earlier in the show about how it was a big night in League Two with fixtures at the top end and the bottom end of the table. Joining me now, CEO Erdem Konya, General Manager Tom Allman, and media assistant Sam Gadsden, who we're going to go through those fixtures, go through those games and look at the outcomes and how they could impact Crawley and obviously the relegation picture at the bottom. Let's start firstly just up the road. Forest Green versus Exeter. So Forest Green in 6th position in the playoffs, 6 points ahead of us. Exeter in 8th, 2 points ahead of us. Let's start with Sam. What are you expecting from that game?
Well, I'm hoping a draw, to be honest. 1-1 would be, any sort of draw would be nice, but I kind of fancy Exeter for that. I think they need a big push to get in there. I think, they're going to want to get in there more. I think Forest Green, personally, I think it was a mistake sacking their manager when they didn't replace him with anyone apart from their under-18s manager.
Yeah.
So a bit of a strange appointment.
Let's bring Erdem in. That's an interesting point. Like a brave decision, a brave decision from Dale Vince, the owner of Forest Green, to sack Mark Cooper. I think he'd been there 5 years to make that call. He obviously felt that Forest Green were dropping out. They're bottom of the form table. From a CEO point of view, is that a decision that you would have considered making? Or
no, it's strange. I mean, it's a strange one, but then again, their expectations might be very high, and there might be a boardroom battle. There might be a few choice words said to each other, and that's why it's ended up being in that situation. But I think Forest Green Exeter draw. I'm going to go with a 0-0.
Yeah, and are you hoping for a draw? Do you think the draw is the best result for Crawley?
I do think so, because then they'll take the win out themselves and they come to us. Hopefully we do well all right today, and then we go meet them on Saturday.
Yeah, and I suppose Tom, in a way, one of the negatives obviously we're playing a lot of the top sides. We're playing 3 sides who are in and around the playoffs, and then one side in Stevenage who have been good over the last couple of months. The positive of that though is that if we're winning games, we're taking points off of those teams. As tonight, it will either by the end of tonight, it could either be we're level on points or we're 6 points behind, couldn't we?
I think it's a case of you don't do anything over the course of a season if you don't beat the teams that are up there or thereabouts. I think we've proven over the course of the season that we can mix it with anyone. Yeah, fine, on some days we've had results that have been disappointing in hindsight, and equally we've maybe picked up 1 or 2 points that have been unexpected. So it's cliche, but you end up where you end up over the course of a season, and it's down to, I'm going for a Desmond for what it's worth for Forest Green Exeter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So 3 draws here, almost 3 hopeful draws, I would suggest. Forest Green, of course, come to the People's Pension Stadium on Saturday. I say, of course, that is true, isn't it? I sort of took a bit of a gamble there.
Of course.
I'm not 100% certain. I've said it like I knew. Should have carried on, really. Anyway, next game. Carlisle, 1 point above us in 10th. They travel to Bolton, who are in 3rd. So again, I suppose we're all hoping that Bolton get 3 points there this evening.
Oh, draw's good again, because then it keeps Bolton low. They might not do well in the next games, and then we beat them in the last game of the season as well.
Yeah, but I suppose from that point of view, in a way, if Bolton are already promoted and they come down to
true.
Sussex having already promoted, that could be good for us as well, couldn't it, Sam?
Well, yeah, exactly. If they can't win the league and they're already promoted, I'm sure John could have a quiet word and just say, come on, lads, let's give us the win here.
I think you've just chucked an accusation of match fixing there.
It's just a hope. Like, come on,
The views of Sam Gadsden and not that.
Yeah, not those of Crawley Town
Football Club.
FC. Just slide it in there.
Anyway, let's go to a break so we can kick Sam out downstairs.
Well, yeah.
Turn his mic off.
Tom, I personally, I would rather Bolton. We're not going to get promoted automatically. We have a really outside chance of the playoffs. So I'm thinking Bolton. Hopefully, they get the 3 points, and that can hopefully see us leapfrog Carlisle this evening.
Yeah, they can do their bit up the top. Yeah, that's fine. If they can take some points away from Carlisle, as they're playing tonight, then I think selfishly that's the result we'll be after tonight.
Okay, next we got Bradford play Tranmere. We're 7 points behind Tranmere. Realistically, we're not going to catch them, are we? Bradford, I think, are 1 point below us in the table.
With a game in hand.
They got a game in hand.
Yeah.
From your point, how are you viewing it, Erdem? So like that game, in theory, you sort of go, all right, Tranmere are above us. We're looking ahead, but also I suppose it's a case of as John has said throughout the season, we want to finish as high as we possibly can.
100%.
So actually, Bradford getting beat this evening, it gives us that option to keep them below us, so we can.
I think Tranmere will win that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I actually think. I believe that.
After watching Bradford last week.
Yeah, I just think Tranmere have a lot. There's a lot more about them.
Yeah.
And I think Bradford. I think maybe they've tired out a little bit. There's a lot of young players in there as well. It seems like they're on a bad curve at the moment. However, Tranmere look like a team that's going to go up in the top 3. They've had a little wobble, but they can win 5-6 games.
Yeah, really
on the trot.
competitive up there, top 3, isn't it? There's still 4 teams who are looking to try and win the league, not even just get promoted. But obviously, 100%. One of those teams is going to miss out. You'd think Morecambe probably won't be able to make it in their position, but certainly the other 4 still going for it. Tom, Bradford, we seem to take the wind out of their sails a little bit. Okay, a point. I think they're a point behind us with a game in hand. I suppose they'll still have hopes of maybe if they can win their last 5 games, getting in there.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure of the league table off the top of my head, but I think there's probably from us down maybe 6-7 teams that are probably all still looking at the playoffs. I think it's probably quite easy. I know for the sake of this game, we're going through the games and what we want ideally for result wise, but we've got to do our job. I think personally, we've probably got to win the rest of our games to stand a chance this season, starting tonight. So don't get me wrong, it'd be brilliant if results do go our way. As we've sometimes benefited from on weekends, sometimes not. It's all irrelevant if we come away
don't
from
win.
here
Yeah,
with nothing
absolutely.
this evening.
Absolutely. Let's take a look down the other end of the table. Southend play Colchester this evening. Colchester 6 points ahead of Southend. So last chance saloon, you'd say, for Southend. They need to win that, don't they, to have a chance?
Colchester will win that game.
Yeah, you think Colchester win, and I would assume Sam. I think if Colchester win that game, they're safe, and that's sort of it for Grimsby and Southend.
Well, Grimsby have got a half chance. They win tonight, but I just don't think Colchester. I think they're too strong. I think it's a good squad.
They've had a difficult season, haven't they, Colchester? The sort of side you'd expect to be at the top end of the table, but they've struggled all year.
They were in the playoffs in December.
I know, and they just have struggled and just plummeted to the bottom. But I suppose from them point, it'd be a case of try and stay up and then rebuild next season.
I think Colchester's a good example of like in recent years we've had Notts County have been the example of budgets and individual players and all this sort of stuff. Sometimes it doesn't come together. Sometimes you have various other things going on that fans maybe aren't necessarily aware of. It's not a big budget, and we're going to come on talking about the Super League in a few minutes. But a big budget is not the be all and end all, as is evident with Colchester. It's as we've said, on paper a good team should be punching up there. Were playoffs last year, find themselves third bottom in a bit of a relegation scrap. So it's the game we find ourselves in.
Yeah,
I'll say
absolutely.
Unfortunately, but
So I think the overall message is there. What's going on? There's lots of different repercussions, different results around the league, but ultimately it's about what Crawley do here this evening. They need to get their job done, and then after the game we'll look at those results and see where everybody lays in the table. These guys are going to stick around after the break. After the advert from People's Pension, we will have a chat about the European Super League and get Erdem's thoughts in particular on how that could impact us down the pyramid.
2017, £30 million has been lost to pension scammers. That's about 26,000 Premier League season tickets. During these uncertain times, it's more important than ever to defend your hard-earned money. Be on the ball to anyone contacting you out of the blue. Find out more about pension scams and how to avoid them by visiting our website.
Yeah, welcome back. So I caught us a little bit there. I was not ready at all. Tom Cameron joins us. Tom,
Hello.
welcome.
Happy to be here again.
Yeah.
I'm happy that he's happy to be here. It's brilliant. It's all family.
All family here, yeah. Do it for the
Well,
badge.
obviously, interesting one. I thought about, well, should we be talking about this evening? But actually, it is the talk of the country, isn't it? It's the
Talk of the town.
Talk of the town. It's talk of the country, the European
And
Super
Wales.
League. Look, Erdem, we'll come to you first. Firstly, we'll talk about the impact it could have on Crawley. You're an Arsenal fan. As an Arsenal fan, as a football fan, what were your thoughts when you saw the news about this European Super League?
I just think they're stealing the memories of all the fans and all your childhood. Like if the Champions League is going to get abolished because of this or not have the same weight, then Porto and all the Ajax winning in the 90s, all that gets just removed. And unfortunately, you're just erasing history, and also you're taking football away from fans. Fans love travelling home and away, the hardcores, and if they've got to travel to Madrid and then to Barcelona, it's not the same as going everywhere in the Premier League. It's not the same impetus, and at the same time, Arsenal don't deserve to be in it at the moment. We can't get in the Champions League. That's me speaking as an Arsenal fan, obviously, and that's the truth. So why should they be given that elite status?
And I suppose that's the issue. Like Tom, you're a Portsmouth fan, so you've had some experience of the Premier League. You've touched the magic.
Had a taste.
Had a taste. And the thing is, with Portsmouth, they got promoted. They won an FA Cup. They got into Europe at one point.
We've done it all.
We've done it all. But the great thing is, a small club like Portsmouth can get into that Premier League and challenge and get into play the European League. They played AC Milan, I think, at one point.
AC Milan at home, yeah.
That's the beauty of football, isn't it? That even Crawley Town, okay, listen, I'm not going to pretend it's going to happen, but the pathway is clear.
Yeah.
Like, it could happen, should there be, obviously, it wouldn't. It's not up for a long time. But Portsmouth are an example of a club who's come through the leagues, played in Europe, and they've earned it on merit, not because of the name of their football club.
Yeah, I think, and Pompey, I think, is a good example of, as you say, we've tasted the AC Milan at home, we've won the FA Cup at Wembley, beating Spurs at Wembley, blah, 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 blah. But I think for a certain generation of fans, if you said sort of what were your best memories of Portsmouth Football Club, it would be, I was saying when we pulled up in the car park, I was here in the terraces when we won 1-0 away in the 90th minute. I think it was Connor Chaplin scored. And there's a certain memory of fans whose favourite memories are when we're coming to, Newport County, when we were down in League Two and won the title on the final day, when we are in League One, doing the rounds down there. I think, fine, it's all nice tasting that success, I suppose, but for me, one of the best games were local derbies. We weren't in the Premier League then. Southampton weren't in the Premier League then, and it was what football was. It was those local rivalries that make football what it is. And at risk of repeating what seemingly everyone in their nan's been talking about for the last couple of weeks, football is for the fans.
And Tom, what do you think the Premier League should do? Because from my point of view, I'm looking at it going, how can you have 6 clubs who are getting £350 million a year, whatever it works out as, for that the other clubs can't possibly access? What do the Premier League need to do now?
I'm not sure legally what they can actually do, because I'm not sure they can actually match the amount of cash that the other guys are going to give them to join. I think as well, not to dig out Tottenham, this is a very random one.
Not to dig out Tottenham, but he's about to dig out Tottenham.
But why on earth, this traditional top 6, why did Tottenham deserve to be there and not Leicester? If you look at the trophies won in previous years, Tottenham have won nothing.
In 60 years.
Tottenham have won nothing. So where's their status come from?
Well, and I think that's what's made me laugh over the couple of days. It's all the names of this big six. Let's have it right. It's the rich 6.
Yeah,
it's not the big 6, because as you say, at the moment, what is the big 6? Leicester, Everton, West Ham. It's the rich six. It's the cash cows of the Premier League that are out, flogging their goods on the continent, abroad.
I think also, like, when you look at the professional football pyramid, if we're on the ground floor, now we're in the basement. We've been put down the floor, and that's what they're doing. And they're going to divide the money up in the Premier League as well. So let's say instead of the Premier League clubs getting 5 billion, whatever distributed among the clubs, whatever it is, that's going to get chopped into half. Well, that's going to have a trickle-down effect on us. What about the FA Cup? If Man United, Arsenal don't participate in the FA Cup, well, then we're taking away one of the greatest memories this club's ever had, which is the Manchester United game. And that's the problem. They're just basically killing the smaller clubs, but this pandemic has also shown how important clubs are for local communities. Don't get me wrong. Of course, you can have an Arsenal fan club in South Africa. Fair enough, fella. But that's not the same as the Arsenal fans here that go home and away. That will never be the same, because they've got their South African club as well. And I'm not trying to say like that. I think they're playing for the mass audiences and the mass crowds, but I genuinely think this will backfire on them, and there's already talks of them all ducking out anyway. Man City have already in the U-turn. So I think there'll be a lot of U-turns coming.
And I was saying to somebody earlier on, the beauty of football is that Leeds United come to Crawley in the FA Cup in January. The whistle blows, it's 0-0, there's 11 men versus 11 men.
Right.
And, alright, granted, those 11 men get paid more and they're better footballers. But ultimately, it's a level playing field, isn't it? And it just seems to me that this European Super League, not even so much for us, because we'll be playing, all the League 2 teams will be in the same boat. But in the Premier League, those 6 are being given a huge cash injection so they can go out and buy more players and do more with their money than the rest of them. So all of a sudden it goes, well, actually, you're starting the game 0-0, but it's not level pegging. And also, we're away to Barcelona on Wednesday and we've got this Sunday lunchtime kick-off. We're going to rest 3 or 4 of our players because we're only playing Fulham. Well, then that's not fair either, because Fulham might be playing a weaker side and Leicester might be getting their first 11 because they're not playing. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't sit right with me, Tom.
No, it doesn't.
I just think with away fans as well, how's that going to work? You've got Stuart from the pub, who's a Chelsea fan, who travels.
Stuart.
How you doing? He travels all across the country every week. Stuart does, and he's got to go. Right, well, we've got Milan on Tuesday, and then Real Madrid on Saturday. How does that work? Do away fans not exist anymore? It's another one I'm throwing in there. There's so many different faults that I just don't agree with.
It's an interesting point, and I'm not seeing that raised. Like in Europe, if your team get into the Champions League, you have 6 games, don't you, in the group, 3 of which are away. So you're committed. You're travelling 3 times across Europe. Maybe if you do well, a lot like an extra 4 times, whatever. Whereas now you're saying, well, you're going to travel 9 times across Europe, and it's going to take too much money out of people, and the real fan won't be able to afford to do it. It's an
I
interesting
do think the owners of these clubs are a little bit disconnected with what these football clubs stand for.
Well, I think, sorry to cut you off. I think
all right, mate.
it's a case of, do you think the Glaziers, is it the FGS group at Liverpool?
Yeah.
Do you think they've ever heard of Bury?
No.
Macclesfield? It's, was it Perez came out today and said that the Super League was to fix football?
No, it's just to fix
How?
Real Madrid's deficit.
Yeah.
Because they're the bosses. I mean, look, it's the biggest club in the world, right, historically. So they're trying to rule the roost, and I feel like they've just had a little domino effect, and they've got these little guys that will come down, we'll join the Real, but Real Madrid are doing it for themselves.
But it's Manchester United, Liverpool, or the teams that from England that are in the moment. It took us 10 months to get our rescue package in the Football League. 10 months.
Which was still not good enough.
Wasn't really.
We're thankful, ever grateful.
Yeah, but it wasn't a huge amount of money for the Premier League, was it, in the grand scheme of things?
That's what I mean. For money where you've got some bang average players at bang average clubs on the money that was distributed to the individual clubs, and it goes back to: do you think the Glaziers are aware of Bury that? Fine, lost a football club, but that's a community that have lost its hub. Macclesfield, fine, they've reformed and it look as though they're going to be building to come back. But I think it's, I struggle to think. It's almost like they care because they have to, in terms of the teams down here. It's almost like we're sort of like the ugly love child that you sort of have to love because you haven't really got any other option. It's, how many, we're going into a Euros this year. For England, how many, I think it was the social media campaign a few weeks ago. How many of those players were made in the Football League?
Yeah.
Kane,
Watkins,
Vardy,
Watkins,
Mason Mount, Lingard, come to form.
And it's
was
just
all made in the
disregarded.
Football League.
Well, I think it's resounding from us. A beautiful link here to our main sponsors on Talk of the Town. We're all agreed here that absolute clutter, the European
clutter.
Super League, absolute clutter. Call Mr. D Clutter and get rid of that rubbish.
Go on, Mr. D.
Yeah, absolutely. A huge thank you to Mr. D Clutter for sponsoring us here on Talk of the Town. Ever grateful for your support. If you please do support them as they continue to support us. Google them, tell them that Crawley Town sent you, and they will sort you out. That's Mr. D Clutter. Sorry, shameless plug there for the sponsors.
Right.
Just before we go, I think players will be going in shortly. I'm looking ahead to tonight. We've sort of found our way back into form, haven't we? And I suppose you've got to give credit to John that whenever we've had a couple of games where we've not done particularly well, he seems to have picked these lads up and got them going again, and he's managed to do that the last few weeks.
No, we showed that we're a team that can respond. We've got a team of character. I think we've, we're the victims of our own success as well. And I think the board ourselves, we have to take a little bit of accountability. When you sell the best striker in the league, and we didn't go out and fork out a lot of money to replace him, we still did recruit in January with all the requests and so forth. But I think that is an important point in this season as well. The COVID and the travelling to one side, that's a variable. But I think we had to do that for the continuity of this football club. And I think that took the wind out of ourselves a little bit. And that's the truth. And that's on us. However, 100 times in the same scenario, would I do it? I'd have to do it again.
Yeah, because sort of save, as we're talking about the safeguarding of a
exactly.
community football club.
We have to.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom, there's 4 games to go starting here this evening. Tom said he thinks we need to win all 4 to sneak into the playoffs. What do you think we need to do?
I think we need all 4 wins, but ultimately, if we don't, I'm really, really happy with the season we've had. The cup run, finishing in the position we have. I don't think we finished this high up the table in 5-6 years, I'm not sure.
It'd be the most points tally apart from the League 2 promotion season if we get another win, apparently, or another 2 points.
Which is good, I suppose, because we've had a couple of years, haven't we? Yeah. Since we got relegated from League 1, we sort of found ourselves every year trying to run to stay in League 2. This year we've been solid, and it's something to build on for next season. Yeah,
100%. I mean, look, I'm excited the fact that there's going to be continuity and a longevity with the same squad, same management, all of us the same, and hopefully we can go again and just keep building. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Gents, I'll let you all go, get over to the other side. I will.
Thank you very much.
Go on, you go. I haven't got any cutaways, so go on. Make your way off.
Enjoy the game, Stuart.
Yeah, Stuart, enjoy. Funnily enough, little story. I was in co-op the other day, and it's not a joke. I was actually. Don't start snoring. I was in co-op. Someone recognised me in co-op from the man from Talk of the Town. I was absolutely buzzing. Yes, I am happy to sign co-op bags at any time. Please do. If you bump into me in co-op, say hello. Yeah, other supermarkets. So we don't have a sponsor, Sodom. So if you are a supermarket and you're watching and you want to sponsor us here on Talk of the Town, please do give me a shout. Right, before we go, let's give you that lineup once again, if I can find it. Morris starts in goal. Archie Davis, Jordan Tunnicliffe, Joe McNerney and Tony Craig make up the defence. Sam Matthews, Jake Hessenthaler, Josh Wright comes in for Jack Powell, James Tilley, Ashley Naderson and Tom Nichols. On the bench we have Jack Powell, David Cisse, George Frankham returns. Good to see him back from injury. Jordan Maguire-Drew, David Rodari and Stuart Nelson. That is all we have time for here at Talk of the Town. The players will be making their way in any minute now. Grab yourselves a cup of tea or a drink and hopefully, fingers crossed, support the Reds this evening to a big win away here in South Wales. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you to Ryan Vehicles for getting the team here safely this evening. Much appreciated to you guys. We will see you again next Saturday when the Reds face Forest Green back at the People's Pension Stadium. But for now, all that's left for me to say is, come on you Reds! What a show! If you enjoyed it as much as we did, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that bell icon so you can be notified about when we are next live here from Talk of the Town. Make sure you don't ever miss an episode, subscribe, hit the bell, and we will see you again very soon.